YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury on a budget, so if you are into that sort of thing, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already, like the videos, and click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post a new video. Today's video is 10 myths busted about Louis Vuitton. And this is mostly geared toward people who are fairly new to Louis Vuitton, but even the seasoned of you might learn something. We'll see. Let me know in the comment section if you do. Myth number one, a lot of people when they're brand new to Louis Vuitton and they probably haven't seen a bag up close, they think that the Monogram print, the Damier Ben, the Damier Azur, they think those are leather bags. And they're often very surprised to learn that they are not leather, they are coated canvas. Those people often tend to be disappointed with the price point when they find out it's not leather. Myth number two is that Louis Vuitton prints always align. When I was new to Louis Vuitton, I always heard that the authentic bags, the pattern will line up perfectly along the seams. And that just simply is not true. There are some bags where that just can't happen because of the shape of the bags. And there are other bags where it sometimes happens and it sometimes doesn't. But the pattern aligning on the seams is not an indicator of authenticity or fakeness. Along those lines, number three, I've heard myths, especially when I was new to Vuitton, that the LV in the Monogram print is never cut off and is never upside down. Those aren't true either. Some of the styles and the way the bags are designed do require that the LVs are cut off at certain points. Let's take a Speedy for example. It's made of one continuous piece of canvas. There's no seam on the bottom of the bag. That means the LVs will be right side up on one side and upside down on the other. And there are several other items where this happens too. Number four, now I have to say I'm not completely sure that this is a myth, but I certainly suspect that it is. I have heard, even from people who work at Louis Vuitton, that Louis Vuitton items are handmade. It seems that their trunks still are, but I have a very difficult time believing that their mass-produced handbags are actually handmade, or at the very least, the idea that we have of handmade, that there are these master craftsmen sitting there and sewing things by hand, that definitely does not happen. It couldn't on that scale. Myth number five, that every Louis Vuitton piece has some kind of number inside, a date code, a serial code, whatever it may be, model number. That's not true. The date codes started in the handbags around 1980, so before that you won't see date codes. And even today there are some pieces that don't have them. For example, the Felici. The inserts inside the Felici don't have date codes. The Neverfull, however, the pouch inside that does have a date code. I would say, in my experience, most pieces have date codes, but there are some that don't. So that is not necessarily a sign of authenticity. Also, the date codes can be very difficult to find. In wallets, there's sometimes you have to open up a card slot and look down on the side. They can be very difficult to see, or they're right next to a seam that's hard to get to inside a bag. Sometimes they're sewn into a seam. I've seen that. I see a lot of these anomalies in the Facebook groups. And I've seen some date codes that are, the person has bought it on a certain day, but the date code says the bag hasn't even been made yet. It's a date in the future from date of purchase. So things like that do happen. Myth number six is that the stitching on Louis Vuitton is always perfect and consistent. I would say in my experience that is mostly true, but there are certainly, I wouldn't call them flaws necessarily, but there are inconsistencies from time to time. The stitching is not always perfect. Myth number seven is that the Monogram print is the original Louis Vuitton print. A lot of you already know that's not true. The original print was the Damier Ben. The Monogram print was then designed to make Louis Vuitton items more difficult to counterfeit. Ultimately, that hasn't worked out very well. Myth number eight is that all Louis Vuitton is made in Paris, and that is definitely not true. Those of us who have been buying pieces know that they're also made in Spain, in the USA, and several other countries. Those are the three that I see most often. And when your bag is made in a place that is not France, actually when it's made anywhere, most of the pieces will say made in whatever country. So made in USA, made in France, made in Spain. If you see where it just says Louis Vuitton and then Paris underneath it, that does not mean it was made in Paris. That's just like the trademark stamp for Louis Vuitton, that Louis Vuitton is a Parisian company. That's all that means. Does not mean it was made in Paris. where it's made, it'll say made in that country. Myth number 9, if you buy a Louis Vuitton bag online or wherever else, anywhere besides Louis Vuitton, and it comes with a box and a dust bag and a receipt and the little cards that say the model number and the materials the bag is made from, that automatically means that it is authentic. And that is not true. Just to let you know, if you're new to Vuitton, you probably already know that Louis Vuitton is highly counterfeited. The boxes, the dust bags, the receipts, those little cards are all counterfeited too. So beware of that. From what I have seen, the counterfeit items that are extras like that, the ones I've seen, it's pretty obvious that they're fake, but that's not always true either. So learn what the real ones look like so you can be educated about that and hopefully not buy something that's inauthentic. And myth number 10 is that the handles of Louis Vuitton items, such as handbags, are never wrapped in plastic or anything else. And that's generally true, but it's not always. The exception to that is when you send an item off for repair, and let's say you're sending your Neverfull and you're having the straps replaced. They will send it back with plastic on it. You may not receive it with plastic. The store might have cut it off for you, or somebody might have cut it off, but if a bag has been repaired like that, it will often have plastic on it. So that is not necessarily an indicator of a bag being fake. Well, those are my 10 myths about Louis Vuitton. Busted. Can you think of any other myths that I missed? Any other sort of misinformation, things that a lot of people, especially newbies, think that turns out not to be true? If so, leave that in the comment section below. And did you already know all these, or were there any that surprised you? Leave that down below too. I'd love to know what you might have learned from this and how you can help others learn more. Thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a fabulous day. Bye.